the pace car has pulled off, so the field is now in the control of pole sitter, the blue number 9. That's right, the blue number 9, the special paint scheme for Scott Dixon. Elio Castroneves outside. They're into turns 3 and 4, and the inaugural running here at Iowa Speedway is green.
Green.
Got a crash in turn 2. Yellow is out. You can see it at the top of your screen. 2 cars involved. It is Dan Weldon. So Weldon involved, as well as it looks like one of the Vision cars. And I'm trying to see, it looks, it's the number 2.
Thomas Schechter.
Yes, Thomas Schechter.
Now here you see the situation. It looks like Weldon has already started to go around. Thomas Schechter, the 2 car, the Vision car that you see there, had nowhere to go and ends up collecting into the side of the number 10 target machine.
Guys, Scott Dixon is coming in as we get ready to go green here. He's got a steering problem and says his steering is so tight that he cannot turn the wheel. That's why he has to come into the pit lane. He said there's no way he could restart.
No, a spin out on the track. And it looks like it's Elio Castroneves. Let's take a look. Here he comes right out, and yep, all by himself.
On the bottom of the screen, he's actually just locked the wheels up. He's trying to put the foot on the gas, trying to get up to speed, coming out of the pit lane.
And as we get ready to go green flag racing, it is Vitor Mira, Marco Andretti, Danica Patrick, Buddy Rice, and A.J. Foyt the 4th. And oh man, 3 wide heading into 1. Look out.
Actually up to 4 wide at one point in time.
They somehow made it all through. You're on board with Jeff Simmons.
Over 1,000 people here for Simmons and his sponsor, Ethanol, this week. A lot of pressure on a driver to perform for the sponsor. And he's getting the job done on the high side there. Very difficult.
Simmons in 10th. That was Buddy Rice in the 15 right in front of him. Come by the stripe this time. Things starting to sort out a little bit. Elio Castroneves, who is actually 5 laps down, we can tell you, is trying to work his way back up through the field. Look out, there's Tony Kanaan.
Got nowhere to go, guys.
And you were riding on board when it happened.
Workers, as soon as you're coming out right now, watch this truck.
Dixon back out.
Course workers down low.
Might as well.
Back to green flag racing. 3 wide. Danica Patrick has gotten together with 2 cars, Mark James, as they head to turn number 1. 4, 5 cars involved.
Hornish, Koski, Elio Castroneves, Danica Patrick, a lot of cars involved, and Danica Patrick did all she could to hold on to her race car. On the restart, Anthony Foyt got the jump, and then other cars started coming to the side, both sides of Danica Patrick, and it was almost like she was caught in a vacuum, Mike. She was working the steering wheel back and forth, trying to hold on to the race car, and all of a sudden, it just cut loose on her, and the carnage ensued.
Let's take another look. Here they are going back to green, and look about 3 cars back.
See, just a lot of people trying to maneuver for that low line that is everybody's sort of fighting for. And on a start or a restart is usually a situation where you're trying to pass some cars. Remember, we talked about what to watch for here. Passing is difficult at this particular track. Right along now, just watch. See, in the top side, what ends up happening is Danica Patrick is getting squeezed down on the low side, ends up rubbing wheels and touching. And here we go on the restart. Already cars on the right-hand side. And both the Vision cars itself are trying to get past her, and she ends up just being in the middle with nowhere to go. Dario Franchitti's on the high side. He tries to make it 4 abreast right there.
So here's the battle for the race lead. This time it'll be 3 laps to go. Marco, the 20-year-old, just can't get enough speed. This time by, it'll be 2 laps to go.
2 laps to go. Carpenter down low. Carpenter low.
And guys, Ed Carpenter is out of fuel.
Oh, so a tough break for Ed Carpenter. He had a career best run in his hip pocket, but just a few laps short. Not short for Dario Franchitti. He's got 1 more lap.
White flag, bud.
Less than a mile down the backstretch. If Marco has anything, he's going to have to do it on the high side because Dario's not giving up the low line.
Got a wing. Just the wing.
Coming out of 4. His win at Indy is backed up with a win at the inaugural running at Iowa. Weldon, 30 years old today, trying to give himself a birthday present. Of course, he fibbed a little bit earlier in the broadcast, told Vince Welch he was only 26. On board again with Marco Andretti as he is all over Hideki Muto. But Muto showing a lot of maturity. He's not changing anything about his line.
And that's exactly what he needs to do. He's trying to run directly behind Weldon in front to try to keep some speed up by advantage of the draft. Now, patience are going to start to run out in these couple of drivers here. Now, Dan Weldon knows exactly what's going on by looking in his mirrors and also listening to the spotters, and he is just focusing on hitting his marks and keeping his foot flat on the gas.
Weldon loves the fact that Marco and Hideki are going after each other. It's given him some breathing space. This time by 5 laps to go. Vince, you've got more?
Hideki Muto and this team felt that they had a very good race car all weekend long as you see him battle his teammate Marco Andretti. The big question about the rookie driver here at Iowa was, would he be able to handle the traffic? I would say he's done so. As far as falling out of the seat, he spends almost every day during the week in Indianapolis in the gym, building his body for moments just like this one, when it takes every last bit of energy to hold off a teammate and still maybe fight for his first career victory.
Well, right now, this race is going to be decided between those top 3 cars because they have opened up about a second gap over 4th place, Scott Dixon. Here comes Marco on the high side. Next time by, it'll be 2 laps to go, and here we go. This reminds me of Texas a little bit. No contact this time.
About 200 feet longer on the outside to try to go around, and now will he try to make it on the inside? So close.
Oh, and that time Hideki did come down, and that was so close. Think about this. Remember that target Chip Ganassi Racing, as A.J. Foyt is all over the 9 car of Scott Dixon. Ganassi Racing is going to give all their winnings to the Iowa Red Cross. With 1 lap remaining, the winner's check looks like it's going to go to flood relief victims, and so how appropriate. Into the 3rd quarter.
1.5. Bring it home.
You heard the call. Here comes Dan Weldon as he brings it across the stripe to take the win, and Hideki Muto second.
Great job, Dan. Bring it home, man. Great job. Excellent job, boys. Excellent job. We deserved a bit of luck. Happy birthday, old man.
And an entire state grateful for the win by Dan Weldon on his birthday. First of all, as they said on the radio, happy birthday, old man. You lied to us before the start of the race. What's this? You're a 30 guy now.
21 again after that. That was an awesome job by everybody at Target Chip Ganassi Racing. And Chip's not here, but Chip would have won by more if you were here. But, you know, we've got to give our thoughts and prayers to all the flood victims in Iowa. It's devastating, but I think everybody in the INDYCAR Series and everybody should be very proud of the show we put on, and hopefully we put a smile on their face. But Mr. Ganassi, this one's for you, baby.
You said you learned the art of giving from your car owner, Chip Ganassi, and Team Target and the Target Company as well. If you could address the state of Iowa right now, what would you tell them about your gift to them?
Well, I hope it put a smile on their face and can help them be positive. I've learned an awful lot from Target, and you know what a big difference just giving. What to you might seem a little, but what giving can do for people and property, and you know hopefully what Scott and I have done with donating our prize money to the cause will help. I know it's only probably a small bit, but you know, like I say, I've learned a lot from Target and a lot from Chip, and I'd be proud to represent these guys and hope it puts smiles on people's faces.
Oh, a good run now by Kanaan. Does he have room to the inside? Nope.
Wow, and that has really broken the momentum with Tony Kanaan. That may be the move of the race. Does he have enough time to regroup? Because here comes Dixon.
And I hate to say this. That was a little bit of payback, I think, Marco. You know, Tony chopped, crossed the bow, I should say, aggressively of Marco on a couple of occasions, and he probably remembered that. And that was maybe payback.
And here's J.R. Hildebrand doing a great job in fourth, closing up on Scott Dixon, and Scott is closing up on Marco right now.
He has had a great race.
Tony, sorry.
Yep.
And you can just hear the intensity in the cockpit for Marco Andretti. He was screaming, how many laps at 10? They said 10, and then when it got down to 8, they said push to pass on every lap. And the second that Tony Kanaan got underneath him, he said push to pass, and that may be the move. Like you said, guys, it could win his first race at Sonoma 2006.
Wow, it's been a long time since Marco Andretti was in victory lane.
And it's difficult for them to catch him now. Marco's constantly on the overtake. You can see it gliding up. So, you know,
Watch him flick off.
It's going to be difficult for Tony to close this gap.
5 laps to go at Iowa.
And that's what you want to do. You want to save enough overtakes so you can use one, as Robbie Floyd had said, each and every lap, so there's no way that Kanaan can respond.
Guys, I'm excited for the finish. I'm excited for the post-race interviews, too. There's going to be some fireworks.
On board with Ryan Briscoe. That's Franchitti up ahead. This is the battle for 5th spot. They're side by side.
And you saw that Briscoe couldn't hold the car down and had to lift. He had a good run on Dario. Dario gave him room, but he just didn't have enough to be able to stay flat out. Not quite happy with the car to complete the maneuver.
Marco Andretti on ovals this year, 13th at Milwaukee, 6th at the second Texas race, 13th in the first Texas race, and 9th at Indianapolis.
Bob, remember the very first thing that we said is you need a good car at the end of the stint. Yep. Dario Franchitti's been lightning fast, but right now, it's all Marco Andretti.
Missing Father's Day weekend by 1 weekend, but Marco may have one for his dad, a victory for his dad, Michael Andretti. Off the 4th corner, and here is the white flag shown for Marco Andretti, and for the last 249 laps, Marco Andretti has spent his time fighting the bulls in the bull ring. But he has won the Trofeo, that's the trophy in Spanish, and he comes through as the winner of the Iowa Corn Indy 250 presented by Pioneer. Marco Andretti wins over Kanaan, Dixon, Hildebrand, and Franchitti.
One guy who does have traffic, race leader James Hinchcliffe, coming up on Simona Di Silvestro. He's just gotten around Dario Franchitti.
But all those spotters up there, Scott, are negotiating, aren't they? They're going over. Hinchcliffe's spotters going up and saying, look, we're in the lead. Let us go by if you can. And people are starting to move out of the way, as they should do.
Simona now 7 laps down today. It's just been a horrible day for her, and Dario Franchitti as well. He is 4 laps down in 20th position.
8 laps to go. Or is it 8 laps? 8 laps to go.
And there you see now, Ryan Hunter-Reyes got to negotiate all this, and he is jammed up.
That's the end of his chance to catch Hinchcliffe. That's it. He's boxed in.
It's traffic time on the highway.
That is all lap traffic, all 3 cars around him. He's got nowhere to go.
That's frustration, guys, right then, because you knew your car was starting to come in, getting a little bit closer each and every lap, but with only 7 laps to go, now coming on 6. That was the race right there.
I think Captain America should be pretty happy with his race though today. He was dead last, and he's going to finish 2nd.
Comes back from 21st after having the early damage to the right front ring, and then comes back, and look at this. Just as Vince pointed out, the fresher tires as Tony Kanaan is able to get around Graham Rahal, but still a great day for Rahal. He may miss the podium, but he's in 4th. After the struggles that team has had all year.
What a great race.
This has got to feel like a major victory to them.
They will learn a lot from this, Scott. They'll take what they've learned grip-wise and go to the next race.
But also, right now, you've got Carpenter starting to bite at his heels. He's getting close.
Tony Kanaan won back in 2010. In 2011, he was 2nd. And then last year, he was 3rd. And right now, it looks like it could be 4 years in a row. He will make the podium here at the Iowa Speedway.
And Hinchcliffe has a 2.1 second advantage on Hunter-Ray.
There is Ed Carpenter. He is trying to close on Rahal. That would be for position. So there you see 4th and 5th in your screen. Simon Pagenaud is another 2.5 seconds back. He has run a strong race. He is in 6th. As we said, only 10 cars on the lead lap. The lap's winding down quickly now. 18 seconds a lap. This time by, now 2 laps remaining. Hinchcliffe's lead is down to 1.3 seconds.
And he has a gaggle of 3 cars ahead of him, about 200 feet ahead of him, and they're going at it for position.
These two still battling for that spot. There is the white flag. And the difference for James Hinchcliffe, he holds on here. It'll be the 5th different winner for Andretti Autosport, as there goes Ed Carpenter underneath Graham Rahal. So the tires may be giving out on Graham's car as he gets bumped back to the 5th spot. Here comes James Hinchcliffe taking the win, his 3rd of the year.
It feels like it's been so short, I'm sure, for Joseph Newgarden. Every time he has to work his way past another lap car, it's kind of a heartbeat that skipped and hold your breath kind of deal. But his 21 Fuzzy's machine has been spectacular all day long. Still 9 to go. Don't give it to him yet as he tries to work his way around Graham Rahal.
He's got to be careful. He can't stick his nose in and get it in there too far and get chopped off. So he's got a nice, comfortable lead now. He's got about the whole back straightaway as the lead. So
he could sit behind Graham Rahal right now and be fine with 8 laps to go, but that's not his style. He's a hard charger. Gonna move on past Graham. Smart decision. Now he's got clean air. And Townsend, I think you were exactly right earlier. The gap that he had over Dixon grew once they got to traffic.
Power's got a good run here this time. He got a nice run off the corner. He's pulling up in the draft, but he's just not close enough. He goes for that high line, and Pagenaud moves up in front of him.
Ooh. Now what does Pagenaud do? Forces Power. Power doesn't like it low.
Oh, he's got him now. He's going to move up in front of him and watch him get loose.
And keep in mind, that's for the championship. That's championship position. Power now is the highest finisher, or at least in line, of those top 3 in the championship. After the win at Elkhart Lake a couple of weeks ago, Will did let it be known that he wasn't quite up to snuff. He hadn't been feeling well in the offseason, and that had affected his training a little bit. As we watch him challenge now for Dixon, but he told me today, actually, I haven't been feeling well at all to Detroit. I feel great now, so I think I can still be on the charge. We're going to battle for second.
I'll tell you what, I think he's going to get him, too, because I think Dixon is having trouble with lap traffic. He can't get close to Munoz in front of him, and Power's really closed up on him. High line.
Oh, and he pitches him up.
Whoa! He's got the momentum.
He learned that from Tony Kanaan 100 laps ago.
If you were passing anybody else but Dixon, that door would have shut and there would have been a crash. Because that is a guy you can trust like Dixon. Because most people wouldn't even know that they were there, and the door would have got shut and there would have been a wreck.
Dixon with that good run forward and now beginning to drop back. 5-second bumper. What the crew telling Joseph Newgarden right now. 2 to go at the line.
He's got clear track now, no hurry to pass anybody. He's got a couple more lap cars in front, but he can almost just tag onto the back of Chilton's car here and tow an anchor to him and just ride here for the last couple laps.
And this is glorious stuff in the heartland of America. Young American star chasing his first oval win. Joseph Newgarden has put on a driving clinic here at Iowa today, really all weekend long. A great qualifying effort. You think about what he's come back for, or from, I should say, from Texas. Joseph Newgarden out of turn 4 onto the front straightaway. Joseph Newgarden wins in Iowa. 3rd career win for Newgarden. 1st win on an oval.
Inside 10 to go at Iowa Speedway. Elio Castroneves continues to stretch his lead by more than 3 seconds now. Team Penske also poised potentially for their first win at Iowa Speedway.
If he gets across the line with the checkered flags, there's going to be a lot of tears flowing out of the eyes of Castroneves, and you can guarantee he'll run straight for the fence. So let's hope he can hold it together here for the next 8 laps.
Well, it'll be well earned. He's driven flawlessly today. That track temperature now down to 107 degrees. It's cooling fast, and it really seems to advantage Castroneves. He's going faster and faster than Hildebrand in 2nd position.
Cars are spread out now for him. He doesn't have a lot of traffic, so he can take his time. He's got a nice gap built up, almost 4 seconds now, and he doesn't have a lot of traffic, like I said, so he can afford to take his time now and not make any mistakes.
Elio Castroneves has led well over 2/3 of this race. 211 laps led today. We saw a similar beatdown by Joseph Newgarden, even more so last year. James Hinchcliffe led well over 200 laps back in his win in 2013 here.
Just watching those bright red gloves from Castroneves, the car looks very well balanced, a lot of precision in the hands, just driving to the limit of the front tires, not trying to force anything as Roger Penske looks on.
I'm looking at the times right now. He's got Andretti in front of him. Andretti's running a 19.1 and Castroneves a 19.5, so he really doesn't even have to pass him. He's got a big healthy lead now. It's down to 3.2 from 3.9, but he doesn't really have to push the issue now because the pace is kind of evened out for everybody.
3.5 laps to go for Helio Castroneves. That's J.R. Hildebrand, more than 3 seconds behind. Under 3 now for Spider-Man.
You know, ever since Penske asked him to conserve tires, he's been working the high line, staying off the bottom, giving the tires a break with the longer radius, and it's really paid off.
I think this win will mean a lot for Roger Penske, too. He and Helio have a very special relationship. They've worked together for so many years. And Castroneves is a lap and a half away from breaking the drought.
His lead now at 4 seconds over second place.
And we're poised for our 9th different winner of the season. Graham Rahal and Joseph Newgarden are still going at it for 5th position. White flag for Helio Castroneves. Under a mile to go to win for the 30th time in his career. On the backstretch, J.R. Hildebrand is nearly 4 seconds in arrears. Castroneves, 2 more turns to go. Checkered flag, win number 30. It snaps a more than 3-year drought, and Castroneves squarely is in the championship hunt.
48 laps to go. Will Power will not make it easy because if there's a yellow, he's still in this thing. So
a win here
Wicken on the outside, a nice run on the outside. Look at this.
It's on. For the lead of the race, James Hinchcliffe goes. And goes aggressively.
We got a new leader. We got a new leader.
Look at that. James Hinchcliffe takes it to Newgarden and now takes off. Inside the final 10 laps. And Hinchcliffe is growing his advantage. It's now nearly 9 seconds over Joseph Newgarden. We're riding with Scott Dixon. Remember those fresh tires late in the race, but it's been a head-scratch day for Dixon. It's been pretty frustrating. But if he maintains his position, what's happened to Ed Carpenter?
Come on. Ed Carpenter got massively loose, might have brushed the wall. Let's hope
yellow
for James since that they don't pull out a yellow, and it goes yellow. So we're going to have a shootout here, and it's going to be a tire shootout.
5 cars on the lead lap. You'd have to think they all come to pit lane if this finishes under green.
Hit the wall coming out of 2. This is not what James wanted. Like I said, there's a piece of debris right in the middle of the track, so they have to go yellow for this. This is, as we see now, he gets really loose, sideways, crossed up.
Oh,
Sato. Sato hits his front wing.
That's terrible for Sato, who was running 5th and so strong.
Look at this, crossed hands, big slide, sprint car style, and Sato had really nowhere to go.
Sato straightened out Ed Carpenter. Carpenter would have spun, but Sato saved the day for Ed.
Well, we're going to see, guys, who are going to be the takers for tires. I think if it was me, I would get tires because they are so much faster.
Yes. Oh, yeah. But can IndyCar get everybody packed up in time?
5 guys on the lead lap, and we are going to have a crazy shootout here at the end.
So it'd be 4 to go at the line.
Yeah.
And at this point, Hinch is going, oh, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, but Hinch was almost a part of that.
Yes.
Go low.
Genius piece of driving by Sato.
4 to go now. I don't think they're going to have time to really do tires. So he might get lucky here and have a green-white checker. Is almost out of the picture.
And guys, I'm listening to James Hinchcliffe's radio, and there's a big battle. Do we come in or do we not? The team was telling him there's just 4 laps to go, but James made the final call. The pits are open. We'll see if James comes in, but the radio call was, nope, he is not going to come in, guys.
Well, Ed's coming down the pit lane. He's got damage. Rahal.
Newgarden's in. Now, is there time to do the wave around for the lap cars? Now is their time. This is Phoenix all over again when Wickens was leading and Wickens stayed out. Now Wickens has come in, and it was Newgarden with fresh tires that spoiled the Wickens party in Phoenix. Here we go. Is it going to be the other way around, Kev?
So Joseph Newgarden will take the tires. It's an empty pit lane because it's only lead lap cars. This is a really quick stop. There was no big hurry. He's not racing anyone off pit road. So can he make his way back through what? 4 cars on the lead lap. Robert Wickens also took tires back out, running side by side off the pit lane with Simon Pagenaud.
This could be bad news for Hinch.
Well, they got to get them lined up first, but they got to let the lap cars pit next and then get them lined up. So they might run out of time to really do anything. But if they do go green and they're lined up nose to tail, he's dead meat.
I don't know how this is going to work out because there'll be 1 to go next time by. And the guys that took tires.
Bye, buddy.
I don't
not called anything here.
I don't think this is going to work out for the timing of how many laps there are because mass confusion at the back of the field
lights are out, Paul.
Let's be ready here. Let's be ready.
Get ready, and this is elevated Spencer Piggott to second, and Takuma Sato with a wounded race car up to third. But there's so many cars for them to get around in 1 lap if the pace car comes in. Lights are off. That means we should be going green this time by. No, lights are back on.
All right, amigo. You are coming to the white flag. I do believe by the rule that you will be the winner of the Iowa Corn 200, 300.
Well, not the way you would want the race to end. We were going to hope for a shootout or just a straight finish, but this got confusing.
It was close, though.
But
I'd say within 1 lap.
Pitting cost Newgarden 2 positions. Piggott now, his best finish of his career. Newgarden back to 4th, who dominated all weekend.
And Sato on the podium as well. So almost guaranteed podiums for Newgarden and Wickens have now evaporated and elevated a Spencer Piggott and Takuma Sato. However, the day belongs to the mayor of Hinchtown. James Hinchcliffe had the most gut-wrenching experience of his life this year, not making the 500, but he wins the Iowa Corn 300. There's no one more charismatic in this IndyCar field than James Hinchcliffe. He is a fan favorite, and this win will resonate. The update here from Iowa Speedway and the NTT IndyCar Series. We're in a weather hold, a wild weather hold. It's got the attention of everybody. Severe rain, thunder, lightning. Yes, we've had it all, but the cell is moving through. Race control have the air titans and jet dryers on standby to get this short track dry as quickly as possible. We will go night racing tonight, race 12 of the season. So after many hours of sitting on our hands, getting ready, waiting, and the driver's wondering, would the track ever be dry? It is, and the field is under the lights here in Iowa.
Side by side into turn 1. Will Power goes around the high side. Already 3 wide. Look at that car on the outside. Is that... I think that was Santino that swept around the outside, so he went super high. Track is clean up there. He's still on the high side.
Look at Sato, Takuma Sato around the outside of the bright yellow Menard Chevrolet of Simon Pagenaud. Sato is on it into second.
And don't look now, but Joseph Newgarden is right there on his teammate, waiting to see where it is exactly that Power's going to go. It's Marco Andretti with Sage Karam trying to hold on to that lead lap, and then Will Power's knocking him down, but Newgarden's right there.
Joseph with a great run to the high side in turn number 2, starting to go side by side, but Will Power shuts the door.
Will Power just started to slide up a little bit exiting turn number 2. Now he gets to the bottom of the racetrack. Newgarden, though, has to check up just a little bit because Karam and Andretti are just in front.
Newgarden to the bottom of the racetrack, side by side into turn number 1, and he'll pass Will Power.
But Newgarden basically has the whole back straightaway of a lead with 8 to go.
That lead snuck out to almost 3 seconds. It is more than 3 seconds now. But you know what? This second place will feel like a victory to the Ganassi squad, considering Scott Dixon was 16th and a lap down at one point in this race.
The second place battle's not over yet, though. James Hinchcliffe is starting to run down Scott Dixon. Scott is struggling behind Sebastian Bourdais right now, trying to get around him. We see James Hinchcliffe with 6 to go. His run Scott Dixon back down. Does he have anything to get around him?
Well, I think he does. James has had a good car all night. Dixon has really struggled all night. It just came alive by taking those tires, and here comes Hinchcliffe.
I still think Scott Dixon has a loose race car, because soon as he gets that dirty air behind Sebastian Bourdais, he has to lift very early. We see James Hinchcliffe digging around the yellow line, 5 to go, chasing down Scott Dixon.
Close, super close. And Dixon's really struggling getting by Bourdais. Graham Rahal with the motor right there in front. We know he's off song, and they're having a hard time getting by him.
And that's the thing, Sebastian Bourdais not just going to give up, because Graham Rahal is 4th position. That's 8th place. We saw Scott Dixon get loose. James Hinchcliffe gets loose right behind him, so this battle's still going on with 3 to go.
Less than 3 miles on what has been a very elongated night here in Iowa due to severe thunderstorms.
Looked like Penske team was going to run away with a 1-2-3 tonight. Will Power made a mistake getting in the pits. Simon Pagenaud just lost the handle on the car. 2 laps to go.
And that 1-2-3, or potential 1-2-3, has turned into a 1-4-12. Not quite what the captain was looking for. But boy, talk about turning frustration into glory and satisfaction. Less than a mile to go for Joseph Newgarden. He has led 244 laps tonight in what has been a superb driving performance from the championship leader. He's already got 3 wins this year. He kicked it off at the season opener. He won in Detroit, he won in Texas, and he wins here in Iowa. The championship leader extends his points advantage. Scott Dixon grabs 2nd, James Hinchcliffe 3rd, but it's all about Joseph Newgarden. Ready to go back racing, and it's waved off.
A bit too early. There's a restart zone that's labeled on the outside. Oh, huge crash in the back. Rinus VeeKay, it looks like Colton Herta are involved.
That car flew. A lucky escape for Colton Herta. There he is.
These guys are all nose to tail. You can't really see the flagger, and he just gets into the back tire and drives right over the top of that car. And another example of how the safety screen is really, I believe, just saved Rinus VeeKay's life with that.
And the fact that Colton Herta's, this is good on the onboard. Simon slows up. Rinus, it all just happens so fast. You have almost no time to react in that situation. You're trying to be as close to the car in front of you on a restart as possible to try to get that draft, try to maximize.
Well, Rinus VeeKay got a little loose there. It stepped out and he had to check up, and Colton was on a run right there, so it was kind of a little bit of 2 things going on at once. A yellow, he got a little bit loose right there.
And having that safer barrier sit a few feet off the fence, this really saved Colton Herta from an even scarier ride. Had that gearbox got into the fence and started spinning that car, that would have been a much more violent impact for Colton Herta. Scary stuff, but again, testament to all the safety that IndyCar has put into these tracks, into these cars. I mean, that's twice already tonight, Paul, that we've seen the aero screen do something potentially very good.
The underside, the floor of Colton Herta's car went right across the left top side of Rinus VeeKay's aero screen. What a lucky escape for both drivers involved there. My goodness.
Dixon has closed the gap. Pagenaud's opened up the gap. Both of these cars are trying to save fuel and make lap time, but the guy who's on the move right now is Oliver Askew on fresh tires. Can he close that gap? He's running a 2nd a lap quicker than these guys right now.
It's a big deficit though, PT. It's 11 seconds with only 8 laps remaining. It's a big task for Oliver Askew, but those 26 laps of caution certainly changed the complexion of the race for these 2 drivers, Simon Pagenaud and Scott Dixon. 23rd to 1st, 17 to 2nd, 7 laps to go. This is going to be an amazing story if it plays out for them.
Pagenaud stuck behind the Dale Coyne car right now. Can't really find a way by, but Dixon right now is not closing. I wonder if Dixon is just kind of settled in on the points. Right now, these 2 guys are 1-2 in the championship, but Dixon has a 50-point gap. If the win is there and it's an easy win, I think you go for it, but no sense, I don't think, in risking the points, but he's got to close that gap.
Further back, Jack Harvey has his eyes on a guaranteed top 5 if he stays where he is behind Alexander Rossi. Newgarden in 6th, Connor Daly from pole to 7th. Actually, he just lost that spot to Pato O'Ward. And then Marcus Ericsson and Takuma Sato in the top 10. 5 to go here in Iowa.
As you said that, Lee, Newgarden actually got around Jack Harvey for 5th place. And Pato O'Ward is not far behind on that fresher set of Firestone tires. It doesn't look like Dixon's getting the run that he needs.
Rossi hanging on for 4th, but Newgarden is closing now. He's only a couple tenths of a second behind, so Rossi in trouble hanging on to that top 5, but the battle up front with 4 to go. 8 car lengths back is Scott Dixon. He's having a hard time closing up that gap.
Simon Pagenaud said post-qualifying, I'll keep my chin up and I will dig my way through. That's the only option I have. And that's exactly what himself and his race engineer Ben Bretzman have done. An incredible performance from Team Penske and the Menard Chevrolet driver.
Down to 7/10 of a second, now 6/10 of a second. The gap just kind of ebbs and flows. It closes, it opens, but there's a lot of traffic now up in front of Simon Pagenaud. Will this help Dixon? You got about 4 cars lined up in front.
Simon had to do the same thing at the Indy GP after a poor qualifying, got himself up onto the podium, so close to a win.
Look at this, he's closing fast, so this is going to come down to the wire. White flag this time around, Lee.
Coming to the white flag.
White flag, less than a mile to go. Scott Dixon still has a shot at keeping that undefeated run going for Chip Ganassi Racing. Simon Pagenaud has the chance to give the captain, the new owner of the series and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, his first win of the 2020 season. From last to first, can you believe it? Simon Pagenaud wins in Iowa. The first night of the doubleheader weekend and the most extraordinary story. What a job from Team 22.
Newgarden just lapped 8th place, Jimmy Johnson.
Let's look at what Joseph Newgarden has done here since 2014. 21st to 2nd, finished 2nd again, 1, 6th, 4th, 1st, 5th, 1st, and maybe on his way to a 4th. And this is a battle for 3rd right now with Will Power and Alex Palou. Palou trying to get that position, and they've lost mega ground to the leaders.
You can see those white gloves from Palou through the aero screen. He's driving this thing like it's a dirt track, James.
Yeah, but the number 10 for Chip Ganassi Racing tends to have good luck when it does alternate liveries. You got Ridgeline on the side of that car this weekend. Normally it's the NTT car, the blue and white car. Now it's the green and black car. And he's on course for a podium if he can get around Will Power here, which is way more than he would have expected coming into this weekend. Joseph Newgarden, 201 laps led on the day, 1,150 career laps.
There goes Palou.
But Palou's got traffic in front of him on his line. Will Power with that clean air is able to roll the high side.
Connor Daly in firm control of who podiums right now based on where he runs his car. The Bitnile, the blue and gold car's a lap down, so Daly exits high. See what he does down in 1 and 2.
You got to wonder if someone from Chevrolet's on the 20 stand saying, hey, go wherever Will doesn't want to go.
Palou almost lost it. Huge slide back there. He'll have to give up a position to Rinus VeeKay. Palou almost in the fence.
Great catch.
Focus.
You said it, Townsend. He was starting to drive the thing like a dirt car. That right rear is gone. Look at him just hacking away at the steering wheel, hanging on. 5 laps to go for the 10. Oh, another one.
Still fighting it. Look at that. I mean, completely crossed up. And it's going to be the longest 4 laps of Alex Palou's life just to bring this car home in one piece.
He's got Scott Dixon right behind him, his teammate, but that's the last car on the lead lap.
Yeah, the leader is right there as well. Joseph Newgarden is not too far behind Dixon. Just 6 on the lead lap, 3 laps to go. Dixon trying to get another spot.
Dixon has a really good run here. He might cross over and go low. No, he stays high.
Palou's just driving wounded at this point. He kind of needs to bring it home. Dixon's going to go by. The leader's next. If anything, it's going to save Palou from having to do 1 extra lap. He probably wants Joseph to go by at this point.
If Newgarden laps Palou, Palou's going to be like, wait a second, I was just behind that guy on the last restart.
Rinus VeeKay now thinking maybe he wants to get himself up on the podium.
as we see Joseph Newgarden putting 6th place a lap down.
That is soul-crushing.
And Joseph Newgarden coming to the white flag. Ryan Hunter-Reay, a 3-time winner. Same as Joseph Newgarden. He's got a chance to top him here today.
What a terrific drive. Got the jump on his teammate when it counted, and then just managed this thing.
Through 3 and 4, Joseph Newgarden can climb within whispering distance of the championship. Win number 4 in the season. Win number 4 in Iowa. Joseph Newgarden wins the first half of the Hy-Vee IndyCar weekend doubleheader. As they run, these two are separated by 7 points in the championship. Power in front of the red and black car. Newgarden in the white and black car to the inside, side by side. Battle for the lead. Newgarden has the line, and lap traffic potentially is going to come into play with Grosjean in the same line as Will Power.
And Grosjean has so much control over the result here of this Team Penske battle, depending on where he runs his car. Grosjean goes all the way high. Newgarden has clean air. Power washes up the track.
Yesterday's winner, Newgarden, is back in front.
You saw Will Power crowd Joseph Newgarden there. He's trying to get below the dirty air of Romain Grosjean, but as Grosjean came down, he crossed the wake of air that gave him a bunch of understeer. He slid up the racetrack, and that allowed the two to go straight through. Joseph Newgarden to the point.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, just how fast Newgarden is around here. And I mean, right, as you just said, he's only got a 2-second lead over Pato Ward, but Pato has got an 8-second lead over 3rd place Power. Power's lost some ground on those this set of tires for whatever reason.
Oh, we've got trouble in turn 4. Jake Query looks like the leader. Joseph Newgarden's up against the wall.
Joseph Newgarden is going in the wrong direction because all of a sudden he made contact in turn number 4. That car goes to the bottom of the racetrack. Everybody safely gets around him, but our leader, who has dominated, Joseph Newgarden, now has the AMR safety team already on site.
Jimmy Johnson back on the inside of Marcus Ericsson. Marcus has been liking that high line. We know that's Jimmy's preferred line. See if he can make the bottom of the racetrack work to make a move on the 8 here. But like we said, there's championship implications to Johnson going by Marcus Ericsson right now.
Jimmy has to go high in 3 and 4. Looks like he's taken low in 1 and 2, but right now, where he goes will be determined by where Ericsson goes, and that's determined by the car in front of Marcus Ericsson,
which I believe is the number 4 of Dalton Kellett at the moment. Oh,
here's
big run here. Here we go. This could be it.
It's a great chance for Jimmy.
Marcus still has the line he wants. He's going to try to roll the outside. Just wheeling it. He's going to get a bit of a draft help here from Dalton Kellett. Dalton laps down.
Oh, but Jimmy's been running high in 3 and 4. Oh, it works out. He's got an even better run this time.
Here he comes.
Brilliant stuff.
On the current championship leader, Marcus Ericsson, red and white car on the high side, is not ready to give it up.
Oh, big wiggle for the 48, 2 down low. That'll get his attention.
He's just rolling so much throttle through the middle of the corner when he can get to that high line, but Marcus is happy up there, not letting him take it, is now Felix Rosenquist trying to get that spot back from Takuma Sato off of 4.
4-8, clear.
Rosenquist did a nice job there to leave Sato with a lot of room, as Rosenquist says, let's go, feeling good.
Spotter Bobby Dalzell and strategist Billy Vincent hyping up their driver, 10 laps to go. Can they make any ground and catch up to Romain Grosjean, try to take a stab at one more spot?
And Pato O'Ward inherited the lead with Joseph Newgarden, who had led 148 laps today after dominating yesterday, crashed out with what it looks like might have been a mechanical issue and no driver fault. So O'Ward is in position to win, and that also shakes up the championship because Newgarden would have taken over the championship lead. Jimmy Johnson going at it again, and this time he has cleared Marcus Ericsson.
Oh, a little wiggle though. He's not going to have as much momentum coming off at 2. Marcus in the draft might look low here.
I think it's just enough though. Johnson was able to slide up. He got Ericsson to lift off at 2 slightly. And now Jimmy's got clean air and could go after his other teammate, Scott Dixon. As you see the replay, it was Jack Harvey checking up Ericsson at the exit coming off of 4.
And that's what we said about these decisions in traffic. You know, Marcus just got caught up behind the 45, but if I'm management at Chip Ganassi Racing, I'm talking about this, and Felix Rosenquist has caught Romain Grosjean in the number 28 DHL Honda. And he goes by.
Clear. Good job.
on a tear these last few laps. Can he catch up to Marcus Ericsson now? I don't think so. A little bit too far off. 3.5-second gap to them right now with only 6 laps to go. Not likely, but Johnson, going back, we saw the point structure shift. It was a 10-point lead for Marcus Ericsson when he was running 5th leaving here. It's an 8-point if he's leaving in 6th. If I'm Chip Ganassi management, I don't like that. We've seen championships come down to a tie. He needs every point he can get.
By the way, this is the 300th consecutive start today for Scott Dixon. He is within the end of next season of catching and passing Tony Kanaan. 318 is the all-time record for consecutive starts.
Also a start milestone for Helio Castroneves, who's starting today. He's making his 369th IndyCar start, which I believe ties him on the all-time start list with AJ Foyt. So a big day for both those drivers in terms of career starts.
Meanwhile, Pato O'Ward protecting a 4-second lead with 4 laps to go. It'll be 3 at the line.
Healthy gap over Will Power. He's really just controlled this final stint. Will hasn't had anything for him.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised. It seemed like Team Penske, certainly with Newgarden's car, had the advantage and Will Power, but later on in this race, the track temp is down almost 10 degrees from the start. It's almost like things have really come the direction of the McLaren team, with both O'Ward and Rosenqvist finishing stronger than anybody else.
As they run, this would move Potts O'Ward into 5th in the championship, a 1st and a 2nd on a doubleheader weekend. That's a record to be proud of leaving here if they can seal this thing out with only a little bit to go, coming to the white flag this time.
Pato O'Ward's 3 previous wins have been on different types of tracks. This would be the 4th different type of track: a super speedway, a street course, a road course, and potentially a short oval. Less than a mile to go for Pato O'Ward. He's got a win already this season. He's been trying to fight back into the championship mix. They've had bad luck at times. Today, some good luck. Start number 50 for Pato O'Ward is win number 4. O'Ward is back in the championship mix. Wins the second half of the Hy-Vee IndyCar doubleheader in Iowa.
Way to go, boys. Way to go. Awesome weekend. Let's go.
12 laps to go here in Iowa. Newgarden has just under 5 seconds over McLaughlin. Kevin?
Dave talked earlier about Newgarden opening up the playbook to try to help his teammate, his fellow bus bro from their YouTube show. And McLaughlin expanded on that, and he said, we had a flight together. We watched the entire race last year that he won, watched Joseph's onboard, watched my onboard, watched every lap to see what we could do, where he was getting air, everything else. And that, he said, now I admit that Joseph probably didn't tell me everything he knows, but it certainly helped. We'll see if he can put it to use to get past his bus bro before the end here today.
What a day for Team Penske holistically. Will Power winning the pole position for today and tomorrow. Power led 119 laps. By the way, that's exactly how many Newgarden's led. That's about to tick over into Newgarden's favor. And then just domination of this Hy-Vee home front 250, the first of 2 races this weekend. Now make it lap 120 led for Joseph Newgarden, the most in this race, with 9 to go until home.
That gap to McLaughlin about half a second tighter as Newgarden stacked up a bit behind 7th place Kyle Kirkwood and Scott Dixon. So Newgarden now making some critical decisions. Do I just ride? Oh no, you don't, especially when Kirkwood gets loose like that down in turn 1.
It's just about being heads up. Again, he's looking 3 cars in front. That's Scott Dixon immediately in front of him, but he's already reading the traffic in front of Scott Dixon to know where Scott's going to place his car.
3.5.
So that he can make his decisions on where to put the 2. And this, again, is just where he is so good. Look at that slow car up top. Everyone's got to check up a little bit.
Gap down to 2.4.
Santino Ferrucci, that is, that he's just ducked up the inside.
Gap down to 1.7.
Here we go.
Gap down to 1.3, 1.1.
6 laps to go. Kirkwood comes back on Newgarden. This is going to slow him up and allow McLaughlin to get even closer. There's the yellow car. That's the XPEL Chevy. Has the teammate got a chance on Newgarden?
You bet he does.
Five laps from here.
How hard is Scott Dixon going to make it on Joseph Newgarden?
He's battling Joseph in the points right now. He's probably not going to help him at all. It's Connor Daly way up high in front of the leader. There's Newgarden going by, staying green.
Now Dixon, the next one to try and negotiate. 4 laps to go from here.
Outside.
And McLaughlin in his own traffic as Newgarden deals with plenty.
Newgarden just putting an exclamation point on it. He's lapped Dixon, who is in 5th place as we are coming to 3 laps to go. He's lapped inside the top 5.
He's about to lap his teammate, the pole winner, Will Power, who led 119 laps in this race. That's
so does
crazy.
Will Power help his teammate? Or does Will Power say, I can't get lapped by the guy that I started in front of in this race? How's this going to play out?
I mean, 3 to go. It's a healthy enough gap. I think he's more worried about Ryan Hunter-Reay there in the blue and gold car. Just get around him, pedal this thing for the next 2. You don't need to pass Will. You just need to keep Scott behind you.
1.8 seconds, 1.9 seconds.
Looking pretty good now for Newgarden.
He said he was just chilling before. He's going to manage this. And when he comes out of turn 4 this time, he'll see the white flag in front of a big crowd. 7/8 of a mile to go until Joseph Newgarden gets win number 5 here at Iowa Speedway. He was filthy after qualifying. He was so frustrated, he was angry, and that anger is going to dissipate now. He is the king of corn country. Iowa Speedway sees Joseph Newgarden win again. That's win number 5. And he is dominating the oval competition this 2023 season.
Okay, they're not going to open up the pit.
Abandoning.
Go back to green.
So no chance for fresh tires for the leaders.
I wish they'd open them just to give everyone the option to see who was brave enough to stay out.
Listen, Rosenqvist was good 20 laps ago on used tires. At the end of the last stint, Rosenqvist was just as good as Joseph Newgarden. It's unlikely. But how big does Rosenqvist go? Kevin, his future is in the balance here. A win today might secure his future at Arrow McLaren.
That'd be a nice bargaining chip to have. It's, by the way, possible also that Felix has agreed to terms with someone not told us. But if he hasn't, you'd like to be his manager right now, maybe.
Think about the Indianapolis 500 with that 2-lap shootout where it was Joseph Newgarden coming from behind. It's Newgarden at the head of this field as the laps dwindle. This is going to be a gripping finish to the high V one-step 250. Can this man get the double and win the weekend? Or does this Swedish charge spoil the Newgarden party here at Iowa? They are coming to green for what should be a spectacular end to this high V doubleheader weekend at Iowa Speedway. And we asked the question that we asked you a couple of hours ago. Does anybody have anything for Joseph Newgarden? Will Power ducks out of the draft? Power goes to second immediately.
Power pushing Rosenqvist all the way up into the dirt. That's going to cost him a ton of spots. McLaughlin sideways trying to keep out of Rosenqvist.
McLaughlin was begging for tires, but he has to hang on for 3 more laps. And what does that do? Alex Palou now right up into 3rd position. That is not good for Newgarden.
Palou into 3rd, podium position with 2 to go, but it's side by side. Felix Rosenqvist on the bottom, McLaughlin up top.
McLaughlin told us on the radio he is barely hanging on. He's almost crashing. Dixon dives for the inside on Herter. Newgarden's got over half a second on his teammate Will Power. They're coming to the white flag. 1 to go, less than a mile. McLaughlin is just dropping like a stone.
But remember, these cars are still a lap down. He is still in 5th as the last car on the lead lap. At the top of your screen, it's Joseph Newgarden out front.
Stand up and pay respects to this man, the king of corn country. Joseph Newgarden wins the weekend, does the double in Iowa. Unbelievably dominant performance from the Hitachi Chevy. And he says, now I'm happy.
I like it. You like that?